Tessa backed away from the other girl, retreating until the small of her back struck painfully against the desk. She looked around desperately. She could run, but she'd never get past Miranda to the door. There was no windows, no doors, no other rooms. If she hid behind the desk, Miranda would simply drag her out and haul her to her room. "Miranda, please." "You must come with me now," Miranda repeated. She had almost reached Tessa. Tessa could see herself reflected in the black pupils of the other girl's eyes, could smell the faint, bitter, almost charred smell that clung to Miranda's clothes and skin. "You must." With a strength she didn't know she possessed, Tessa seized the base of the brass globe on the desk, lifted it, and swung it with all her might at Miranda's head. It connected with the sickening sound. Miranda reeled back, and then straightened. Tessa shrieked and dropped the globe, staring. The whole left side of Miranda's face was crushed in, like a paper mask had been smashed flat on one side. Her cheekbone was flattened, her lip smashed against her teeth, but there was no blood at all. "You must come with me now," Miranda said, in the same flat tone she always used. Tessa gasped. "You must come. You must. You. Miranda's voice shuddered and broke, degenerating into a stream of gibberish, and moved toward Tessa, then jerked to the side, twitching and stumbling. Tessa turned from the desk and began to back away as the injured girl spun faster and faster. She reeled across the room like a staggering drunk, still shrieking, and crashed into the far wall, which seemed to stun her. She collapsed to the ground and lay still. Tessa raced to the door and out into the corridor beyond, passing only once just outside the room to look back. It seemed in that brief moment as if a thread of black smoke were rising from Miranda's prone body, but there was no time to stare. Tessa darted down the hall, leaving the other door hanging open behind her. She dashed for the stairs and hurtled up them, nearly tripping over her skirts and banging her knee painfully on one of the steps. She cried out and scrambled on up the first landing, where she dashed into the corridor. It stretched out ahead of her, long and curving, disappearing into shadows. And she raced down it. She saw that it was lined with doors. She paused and tried one, but it was locked. So was the next one, and the next after that. Another set of stairs led down at the end of the hallway. Tessa raced down them and found herself in an entryway. It looked as if it had been once grand. The floor was cracked and stained marble, and high windows on either side were shielded with curtains. A bit of light spilled through the lace illuminating the enormous front door. Tessa's heart leapt. She dived for the knob, seized it, and flung the door open. There was a narrow cobblestone street beyond, with rows of terraced houses on either side, lining either side. The smell of the city hit Tessa like a blow. It had been so long since she'd breathed outside air. It was close to dark. The sky, the dimming blue of twilight, obscured by smudges of fog. In the distance she could hear voices and cries of children playing, and the clop of horses' hooves. But here the street was nearly deserted, save for a man leaning against a nearby gas lamp, reading a newspaper by its light. Tessa dashed down the steps and toward the stranger, catching him by the sleeve. "Please, sir, if you could please help me." He turned and looked down at her. Tessa stifled a scream. His face was as white and waxy as it had been the first time she'd seen him, at the dock in Southampton. His bulging eyes still reminded her of Miranda's, and his teeth gleamed like metal when he grinned. It was the Dark Sister's coachman. Tessa returned